Summary: We Shouldn't Have Come Here by Sara Kate. One wild night in Coral Edge. It starts with bad decision. Like most good thrillers do, me, a 21-year-old nursing student, joins her friends for spring break in Coral Edge, coastal Florida town known for its humid nights, live music, and cheap beer. She's sharing rented house with 5 others. Her best friend Taryn, charming and reckless. Jake, Taryn's on-again, off-again boyfriend. Eco, sarcastic skater with fear of commitment. Lena, social media influencer, documenting every second of the trip. And Bryce, the newcomer. Quiet, athletic, and little mysterious. The first few days are typical. Beach bonfires, hookups, and hangovers. On their third night, after one too many shots at Tiki Bar, Bryce suggests thrill. Exploring the abandoned Cypress Hollow prison located just outside town, its place locals whisper about. Closed down in the early 2000s after flood made it structurally unsound and full of toxic mold. Urban legend says guard vanished during the evacuation. Drunk, laughing, and emboldened by the heat, the group piles into Jake's SUV and drives out to the crumbling facility. It's massive, with rusted gates and thick vines curling over razor wire. They enter through side door, filming there. Prison break for Lena's followers. Echoes follow him in the hallways. The place stinks of mildew, rot, and rust. Taryn and Bryce venture off on their own. Mia gets bad feeling, but tells herself she's being dramatic. An hour later, after a few scares and minor injury, when Nico cuts his hand, they leave. Buzzing with adrenaline, no one realizes then that something followed them out. Two days later, silence. Back at the beach house, the party continues. Until Taryn and Bryce disappear. At first, everyone assumes they snuck off together. But hours pass, then day. Taryn doesn't answer her phone. Bryce's bed is made. Their stuff is untouched. Mia grows worried. Taryn wouldn't ghost her. Not like this. Then she finds something chilling in Bryce's backpack. Hand-drawn map of the prison marked with notes about tunnels, rooms, the access points. Was it just prank? Jake brushes it off. Lena's worried about her followers. Nico thinks they're just doing some weird hookup challenge. But when tropical storm warning is issued and the roads begin to flood, the tension escalates. Then Mia gets cryptic voicemail from Taryn. Only a few seconds on, static, faint sob, and one word. Help. 3. The return to Cypress Hollow. Despite the worsening weather, Mia insists they go back to the prison. Jake refuses, so Mia takes the car herself. Until Nico and Lena reluctantly agree to come along. On the drive, branches lap the windshield, and the wind howls. The radio warns of incoming storm surges. As they approach the prison, floodwaters lap at the road. They park on high ground in Trojan, flashlights slicing through the rain. Inside, a darker, colder, they find recently used campfire near the intake room and torn piece of fabric that Mir recognizes as Taryn's hoodie. They split up, only briefly. But when Mir returns to the rendezvous point, Lena's gone. Panic sets in. They call out search nearby halls, but it's no use. Water drips from the ceiling. Shadows move, then figure darts past at the end of the corridor. Impossibly fast. They aren't alone. Or an unseen stalker. What began as rescue turns into fight for survival. Lena's phone is found smashed beneath the staircase. Nico wants to leave, but Jake arrives. He changed his mind and followed them. They argue, but the storm outside is too strong now. The entrance is submerged. The cell blocks are flooding. They're trapped. In terrifying sequence, they're hunted through the facility by someone who knows every inch of it. Flashlights flicker. Old alarms howl. Doors slam behind them. One by one, they're picked off. Separated, stalked, and attacked. Mia finds Bryce barely alive. Chained in boiler room. He says it was never about Dare. He came looking for someone. His older brother had been sent to Cypress Hollow 2 decades ago and never made it out. He'd always suspected cover-up, but now he believes something darker happened. There's someone here, he whispers. Someone who never left. 5. Isaac the Keeper. That someone is Isaac, former guard at Cypress Hollow. In flashbacks and found footage via camcorder recordings in the prison's control room, the group pieces together story. When the prison flooded in 2003, Isaac refused to evacuate. He believed the inmates were sinners who deserved divine judgment. While other staff left, he stayed behind, locking cells, cutting power, and eventually killing several inmates in what he atonement. Officially, he drowned in the basement collapse. But Isaac didn't die. He's lived in the ruins for over a decade, feeding off canned goods, scavenging, and hunting the occasional thrill seeker. When the group visited days earlier, he saw a sign, new generation of sinners to punish, the return of the sinful 6. Mia realizes they're being judged one by one. Isaac sees himself as holy executioner, his prison sacred ground, the storm, divine cleansing. 6. Flood, fire, and fury. With time running out and the waters rising, Mir rallies the survivors. Nico, Jake, Bryce, and Lena, who turns out to have escaped hiding in the air ducts. Together, they make plan they'll draw Isaac into trap using the old death row electric chair, still intact in the execution wing. It's risky, but it's all they've got. Bryce and Jake set up the rig while Mia and Lena use the intercom to distract Isaac, playing his recordings back to him. The trap works, but barely. In final confrontation, Jake is mortally wounded. Isaac is electrocuted, but not before telling Mia, "You shouldn't have come here. Now you'll never leave." The storm tears through the prison, collapsing entire wings. The roof buckles. Mia and the survivors escape through the warden's tunnel, emerging in the forest as the sun rises and emergency crews arrive. 7. The aftermath. 3 people are dead, 2 hospitalized. The media calls it tragedy. Young tourists ignoring local warnings. The prison is scheduled for demolition, but Mia knows the truth, and when she gets packaged days later, VHS tape with no return address, she's shaken to her core. On it, grainy footage from Isaac's bunker. The last clip shows him watching them during their first visit, long before anyone knew he was there. His voice, distorted by time, ends the tape. "We all come back to where we sin, and we all pay." Book review: We Shouldn't Have Come Here by Sara Kate. Sara Kate's We Shouldn't Have Come Here plunges readers into high-stakes, pulse-bounding thriller that blends the sun-drenched chaos of The Hangover with the brooding, atmospheric dread of Outer Banks. Set in small, sleepy Florida town where secrets fester like heat under the summer sun, the novel explores how one night of impulsive fun turns into nightmarish battle for survival. At the heart of the short thriller, seemingly carefree group of friends seeking adventure, escape, and maybe little closure. Their story begins with drunken dare that leads them to an abandoned prison. Its crumbling walls and rusted gates echoing with the ghosts of violent past. The thrill of trespassing and the bravado of youth quickly turn sour when, just days later, 2 of their friends vanish without trace. Guilt, fear, and the need to uncover the truth propel the remaining group back to the site of original misadventure. But what starts as rescue mission spirals into feverish descent into horror. Plot and pacing. Sara Kate wastes no time getting the plot rolling. The book opens in media res, with characters already grappling with the aftermath of their poor choices. From the first page, their sense of unease, something off-kilter in this unbaked Florida air. The pacing is tight and relentless, with every chapter ratcheting up the stakes. Kate balances moments of introspection with explosive scenes of tension and chaos, especially as the tropical storm bears on the town, flooding streets and isolating the friends in place that was never meant to be found again. The storm becomes more than just backdrop. Its character in its own right. The howling winds and rising waters mirror the group's escalating panic and desperation. Nature's fury is unforgiving, but it's the human threat lurking within the prison that's far more terrifying. Atmosphere and setting. The setting is vividly rendered and central to the book's appeal. The Florida town is portrayed with an almost cinematic quality. Pastel buildings peeling under the sun, thick swampy air that clings to skin, and locals who know more than they're willing to share. The prison itself is masterstroke of horror writing. Claustrophobic, decayed, and crawling with memories that refuse to die. Sara Kate captures the eerie beauty of decay, drawing readers. Dark corridors where silence is rarely empty. Kate's use of the storm to amplify the tension is particularly effective. As the friends try to navigate rising floodwaters, failing power, and crumbling infrastructure, the isolation becomes stifling. The setting forces the characters and the reader to confront both physical danger and moral ambiguity. Characters and dynamics. Though short novel, We Shouldn't Have Come Here manages to create distinct, memorable characters. The protagonist, Allie, is flawed but sympathetic narrator who initially goes along with the group's impulsive decisions but gradually becomes the voice of reason. Her arc, from guilt-ridden party girl to determined survivor, is the emotional backbone of the story. Other standouts include Chris, the group's self-proclaimed leader whose confidence masks deep insecurity, and Sasha, whose disappearance drives the second half of the novel. Their interactions feel authentic, rooted in shared history, petty resentments, and unspoken truths. As the night unravels and the group is forced to confront their secrets, tensions rise and old friendships crack under the weight of fear. Kate is particularly skilled at using group dynamics to Spence. Trust becomes precious and fleeting commodity, especially when it becomes clear that one among them may not be who they claim to be. The interpersonal drama is as compelling as the external threats, and it's this dual-layered tension that keeps the reader on edge. Themes and subtext. We Shouldn't Have Come Here is more than a survival thriller. It's commentary on recklessness, guilt, and the consequences of our choices. The title itself is both warning and confession, one that echoes throughout the story. The friend's decision to explore the prison is rooted in desire for cheap thrills, but beneath that lies something darker, the urge to escape responsibility, to test boundaries, to feel alive in a world that often feels numb. Also an undercurrent of social commentary regarding forgotten places in the stories we erase. The abandoned prison isn't just horror setting. It's symbol of institutional neglect and buried violence. Kate doesn't delve too deeply into this theme, but it lingers, giving the book subtle layer of depth. Writing style. Sara Kate's prose is sharp, evocative, and fast-paced. She has a knack for sensory detail, especially when describing fear. The prickle of dread, tightening of throat, the slippery grasp of wet concrete underfoot. Her dialogue is natural, sometimes funny, often fraught with tension. The short format of the novel forces lean storytelling approach, and Kate delivers with precision, wasting no words yet never skimping on atmosphere. What also stands out is her ability to write action scenes with clarity and urgency when the storm hits in full force or when danger creeps through the halls of the prison. Intensifies, and the reader is pulled along breathlessly. The final act is especially satisfying. Culmination of physical and psychological terror that delivers gut punch at climax. Final thoughts. We Shouldn't Have Come Here is tightly written atmospheric thriller that proves you don't need sprawling page count to deliver high-stakes horror and character-driven suspense with echoes of The Descent and I Know What You Did Last Summer. It combines familiar genre tropes with fresh, contemporary edge. While some readers may wish for deeper dive into the backstories of certain characters or the history of the prison itself, the book succeeds in doing exactly what it sets out to do. Thrill, unsettle, and entertain. It's the kind of book you read in single sitting, heart pounding, eyes scanning the shadows. Recommended for fans of survival horror, quick paced thrillers, storm set suspense, and stories where bad decisions come back with vengeance. Think Riley Sager meets Jennifer Hillier with Dash of the Blair Witch Project. Rating 4/5. Sara Kate is named to watch, and We Shouldn't Have Come Here is confident, chilling entry into modern thriller canon. Just don't read it during storm. You might regret it.